Welcome to Texas Law TV. Today we are going to be talking about construction accidents and what to do if you are injured in this type of accident. My guest is attorney Greg Anderson, and he is going to talk with us about some of the complex legal issues that often come into play. Greg, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Greg, if someone is seriously injured while working at a construction site, who can be held liable?
Well, typically there are a lot of different parties that could be liable. In the usual construction situation, there's a premise owner. The premise owner often will hire a general contractor to oversee the entire project, and then the general contractor typically will hire subcontractors to actually do the work. So in the situation of a home construction, for instance, there'll be framers, electricians, plumbers, the cement people, etc., etc. So each of those or all of those folks could be responsible for any particular injury or incident.
And does workers' compensation cover an injury that happens on a construction site?
Well, it certainly can. Of course, workers' compensation only applies to the employer of the injured person in most situations. So for instance, if an injured worker works for a plumbing contractor and the plumbing contractor has workers' compensation insurance in place, the injured worker is entitled to workers' compensation benefits through the employer's policy, but he or she cannot sue his employer. Now, he or she can then sue one of the other subcontractors, the general contractor, or the premise owner. There's some exceptions to that where certain types of policies will deem everybody to be someone's employer, but in the typical situation, it's only the actual employer who has a bar to a negligence claim by the employee.
And what if the construction site accident is partially my fault? How does that affect my claim?
Well, Texas is a comparative law state, and what that means is if a case is tried to a jury will be asked to assess not only the defendant's conduct, but also the conduct of the injured person. So if a jury determines that the injured person was partly at fault for causing his or her own injuries, then the jury will be asked to assess a percentage of responsibility, and whatever percentage of responsibility they determine to be the fault of the injured worker, then that will be assessed against the damages awarded and reduce the damages by that percentage.
What if a self-employed contractor is seriously injured and his injuries are related to a defective piece of equipment? What steps should he take?
Well, that's the one scenario we haven't discussed. So if a defective piece of equipment, let's say a backhoe, a forklift, or any type of equipment malfunctions and causes an injury, then the injured person would have a potential claim against the manufacturer of the equipment if there was some design defect in it, or wasn't manufactured properly, or adequate warnings weren't supplied. In addition to that, a lot of times equipment is leased on a construction site from a company that keeps and maintains the equipment. If that company failed to properly maintain it, even though there was nothing inherently defective about it, there could be a claim against the company for failure to properly maintain the equipment in safe condition.
Greg, this is great information. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Until next time, this is Dee Lynham for Texas Law TV.